Hey, it's Alpha, and here's my 5-minute take on the world, starting the clock for you right now, saying thanks for listening, watching, wherever you are. Deeply appreciate it, as are your thoughts and comments. I got one comment from a YouTube subscriber that caused me to pause and think for a bit. He liked my videos, he liked my logic, he liked my way of thinking. However, he cited some other things that are going on, like the mosque in New York, or the proposed mosque, and some of the spending that's going on in this country, the BP situation, and he says it doesn't matter, that we're helpless anyway. You know, I can understand why you'd feel that way. I would hope you wouldn't. I would hope you'd realize that we do have a voice, that we do have power at the ballot box. I know it doesn't seem like it counts for much these days when the federal government is saying we don't care what you think, we're going to do what we want anyway. I think we can change that, though. I think we can stem the tide of that. I think we need to stand up and stand strong. Hopefully I'm doing my part to help advance that thought. All right, let's get the brain stretcher question for you for today. This item was banned once upon a time in Japan. It was also banned in the Soviet Union, and now Las Vegas wants to ban it too. What is this dangerous item? We'll find out in about 4 minutes or so. All right, today it's all in the excuse, and boy, there are a lot of them today. Nancy Pelosi is calling all the congressmen back to the White House because they want to vote on this new stimulus package, $26 billion, and this money is going to go to the states so they can pay for teachers and firefighters and law enforcement officers. Wow, that sounds like a noble cause, doesn't it? And if the GOP decides to vote against that, then, well, then they must be against teachers and law enforcement officers and firefighters. They must not be for the good of the people in the community. Let's back up a little bit and try to figure this out. The way I look at the federal government, it's like the mom and dad, see, and the states are like the kids. We got married as mom and dad 234 years ago and started having kids. Some of the youngest kids now are 60-some years old. It's time they were standing on their own, okay? I know that in tough times, every child has gone back to their parent, and every parent has tried to welcome them as best they can and tried to help out when they could. There are times, though, when the parents can't help out, and you have to say to the child, you've got to stand on your own. You see, when California comes to the federal government and says, you've got to help us pay for our teachers and firefighters, and we have to say, well, what about these out-of-control pensions you've got, where small-town city managers are making $1.6 million in total compensation, and when they're kicked out of office, they get a $900,000 a year package in pensions. What about that? What about this fish ladder you bought for $1 million? Why couldn't that money be going to your teachers and firefighters and law enforcement officers? Michigan, what about you? Lansing, you laid off firefighters, but at the same time you bought an $800,000 piece of water sculpture. What's that all about? See, if you're going to be reckless and irresponsible, then don't come to me and expect me to bail you out. And when the GOP stands up against that, they'll go, see, you're against all these things these people need, so we, the Democrats, are just trying to bail the people out. It's all part of the plan. Part of the plan, I guess, too, for Michelle Obama, being a good parent, she took her daughter to Spain. But that's not why she went to be with her daughter. She went, according to the White House now, to be with a good friend whose father passed away. Oh, then I take back all the bad things I said about that trip then. Come on. What kind of stupid guilt trip is that? Okay, so she's got a friend whose father passed away. I'm sorry about that. But in order to spend quality time with that person, because you couldn't make the funeral, did you have to go to Spain with her? Oh, but her friend promised her own daughter that she would take her to Spain, and she thought it'd be a good idea if Michelle and Sasha went along too. Oh, and then ride on Air Force Two and be privy to all the other accoutrements of the White House staff that's going over there too. And I guess it wasn't quite as many people as went as had been reported, but that's not the point. The point still is that $75,000 a day was spent on that trip, 7 days, $500,000 or so, all paid for by taxpayers. Well, for the most part. Some of the private citizens who went along did pay for their own. And that's the White House argument, is that Michelle Obama is a private citizen. I don't think so. Once she became First Lady of the land, she became public citizen number 2, right? I mean, she is responsible for White House staff, White House events, some state dinners, some bill signings at the White House, some U.S. policy and programs. So she's not exactly a private citizen. She's a public citizen. If she's a private citizen, then she shouldn't be spending taxpayers' dollars to go on vacation, right? It's all in the excuse, you see. If we're against that, then, well, We're just against the administration because we're conservative rednecks. And if we're against this bailout bill of $26 billion, and it's because, well, just because we don't like the public. No, it's none of that. The excuse is built in and manufactured, and you're trying to use it against those of us who would just like a little responsibility. That's all we're looking for here, just a little responsibility. All right, the answer to the brain stretcher question. Apparently, this item banned in Japan, also banned in the Soviet Union at various times. They want to ban it in Las Vegas too. It's the hula hoop. Yeah, dangerous thing, that hula hoop. I guess there's a rise in hula hoop gangs running around Las Vegas now. Look for that on an episode of CSI coming up. That's it. I'm done. See you next time.